What happens when humanity's quest to colonize the stars resurrects an ancient, vengeful enemy? Set on a sleek seed ship, a seasoned crew races against time and space, confronting a menace thought long forgotten. Their mission? Protect the human legacy amidst cosmic chaos. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story, the stellar seed. Let the story begin. The vastness of space stretched out like a silent, dark ocean, speckled with distant stars and nebulas that shimmered in various hues. The seed ship Genesis glided gracefully through this expanse, its sleek metallic frame reflecting the starlight. Inside the ship, the hum of the engines was a constant, comforting presence for its crew. Captain Mara Fisher stood on the bridge, staring out through the panoramic display. Her eyes, sharp and focused, scanned the stars ahead. She was a woman of medium build, with a determined look that spoke of years spent in the lonely void of space. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical ponytail, and her uniform bore the insignia of the Galactic Council, a badge of honor and duty. Dr. Samuel Inverness, the ship's biogeneticist, sat at a console nearby, engrossed in his work. He was a tall, lanky man with glasses that perched precariously on the bridge of his nose. His fingers danced over the holographic interface, manipulating data with practiced ease. "Captain," Samuel called out without looking up from his console, "I'm getting some strange readings from the outer hull. It might be nothing, but it wouldn't hurt to check it out." Mara turned her attention to the readings. "Good call, Samuel. Javier, can you run a diagnostic on the hull integrity?" Lieutenant Javier Ortez, the ship's tech expert, was leaning back in his chair, feet propped up on the console in front of him. He glanced at the captain and then at the data. Javier was a wiry man with a mischievous twinkle in his eye, always ready with a quip or a quick fix. He sighed and lowered his feet. "Sure thing, Captain. Running diagnostics now." The bridge was a hive of activity, each crew member focused on their tasks. Screens flickered with streams of data, and the rhythmic tapping of keyboards filled the air. The ship's AI, a soft-spoken entity named Alicia, monitored all systems quietly. "Captain," Alicia's voice chimed in, "we've received a distress beacon. It's from a seed ship, the Infinitum *. Coordinates are being transmitted." A sudden hush fell over the bridge. Mara's jaw clenched. "Set a course for those coordinates, Alicia. Maximum speed. We need to find out what happened." As the ship veered toward the source of the beacon, tension grew palpable. Javier broke the silence, his voice lighter than the atmosphere. "Anyone else getting a bad feeling about this?" Samuel's eyes remained on his console. "It could be anything, Javier. A malfunction, pirates, or something worse." His tone turned grave, the implications hanging heavy in the air. Minutes later, the Genesis arrived at the Infinitum's location. The sight that greeted them was chilling. The Infinitum floated lifelessly, its hull breached and scorched, debris drifting eerily around it. Mara's fist tightened. "Alicia, scan for life signs." "Scanning. One life sign detected," Alicia reported. "Faint but present." "Prepare a boarding party," Mara ordered, her voice steely. "Javier, Samuel, you're with me." The trio suited up and made their way to the airlock. The eerie silence inside the Infinitum was broken only by the sound of their breathing, amplified in their helmets. Flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing the devastation within. They found the sole survivor huddled in a corner, eyes wide with terror. His voice was a hoarse whisper. "Ferastrans, they're back. They're hunting us." Mara's heart sank. The Ferastrans, a race believed to be myths, had returned. Their hatred for humans was legendary, rooted in horrors long past. She exchanged a grim look with Samuel and Javier. "We need to get him back to the Genesis *, she said firmly, "and we need to warn the others. This is just the beginning." As they made their way back to the Genesis *, the weight of their discovery pressed heavily upon them. The vast expanse of space seemed just a bit darker, a sinister shadow cast over their journey ahead. The Genesis floated in the emptiness of space, its sleek form almost ghostly amidst the distant stars. On board, Captain Mara Fisher and her team of explorers tried to piece together the story told by the lone survivor of the asterisk infinitum asterisk. In the briefing room, the atmosphere was tense. Mara stood at the head of the table, and the survivor, a disheveled man named Tarek, sat shivering despite a thermal blanket wrapped around him. Dr. Samuel Inverness monitored him, his brow furrowed with concern. "Tarek, you need to tell us exactly what happened," Mara said, her voice calm but firm. She leaned forward, her eyes locked onto Tarek's. Every detail matters. Tarek's eyes darted around the room, still wide with residual fear. "We were mapping an asteroid belt," he began, his voice shaky. "Out of nowhere, these ships appeared. They moved like shadows, and then they attacked. No warning, no communications, just pure destruction." Javier Ortez, leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, frowned. "Ferostrons, you said? I thought they were just ancient legends." "They're real," Tarek replied, voice growing steadier. "And they want revenge. They're hunting our seed ships down, one by one." Samuel exchanged a worried glance with Mara. "If the Ferostrons are targeting seed ships, we're all at risk. But why now? Why come back after all this time?" Mara's mind raced. "It doesn't matter why right now. What matters is we need to warn the rest of our fleet. Alicia, send a priority 1 alert to all seed ships. They need to know what's coming." "Message sent," Alicia confirmed through the intercom. "Do we have any leads on where these Ferostrans could be based?" Mara asked, looking to Tarek. "They took captives from the asterisk infinitum asterisk," Tarek said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "They might be interrogating them. Maybe we could rescue them." Javier nodded. "If we can find them, that is, and we risk a lot going in blind." "We might not have a choice," Mara replied, her gaze steely. "Javier, start working on any data we've collected from the asterisk infinitum asterisk. Maybe their flight logs can give us a clue." Javier headed for the tech lab, already deep in thought. Meanwhile, Mara turned back to Tarek. "You're safe here," she assured him, "but we need every bit of information you can remember. Anything could be a clue." In the control room, hours passed as the crew sifted through data. Javier, surrounded by holographic displays, finally exhaled sharply, drawing Mara and Samuel's attention. "I think I found something. The asterisk infinitum asterisk took an unusual detour before the attack. There's a system not far from here, uncharted and potentially hostile." Mara nodded. "That's our lead. Samuel, prep the med bay. If we find any survivors, they'll need immediate care. Javier, get the engines hot. We're moving out." As the ship changed course, tension mounted. The crew knew the dangers they were heading into, but uncertainty gnawed at them. Samuel walked the corridors, checking on each crew member, offering reassuring words where he could. His gentle demeanor calmed the new recruits and reassured the veterans. In the mess hall, crew members gathered in hushed groups, exchanging worried glances. Lieutenant Ava Carter, the ship's security officer, sharpened her blades methodically, her focus intense. "We'll be ready for them this time," she murmured to no one in particular. Tarek, still haunted by his experience, found a moment of calm as he watched space through a viewport. He turned as Samuel approached. "Do you think we have a chance?" Samuel put a hand on Tarek's shoulder. "We've faced worse. It's going to be tough. But if there's one thing I've learned on this ship, it's that giving up is never an option." Back on the bridge, Mara stood resolute, eyes scanning the vastness ahead. "Whatever awaits us in that system," she said quietly to herself, "we go together. Humanity's survival depends on it." The asterisk, Genesis asterisk, hurtled towards the unknown, its mission now more critical than ever. As stars streaked past them, the crew braced themselves for the battles to come, united by a single purpose: to protect their kind from an ancient enemy that had returned from myth to reality. The asterisk, Genesis asterisk, approached the uncharted system, a dark and foreboding stretch of space. The crew's nervous energy crackled in the air, a silent acknowledgement that danger lurked ahead. Captain Mara Fisher stood at the helm, her eyes focused on the void before them. "Entering uncharted space now," Javier announced, his fingers dancing over the controls. Mara nodded. "Alicia, run full-spectrum scans. I want to know if there's anything out there." "Scanning," Alicia replied in her calm, synthetic voice. The crew watched the displays intently, waiting for the AI's report. Dr. Samuel Inverness hovered near the comm station, his face etched with concern. "What are the chances we find those captives alive, Mara?" he asked quietly. "We have to hope," she responded, her voice steady. "Hope and fight. It's all we've got." The scanners beeped, drawing everyone's attention. "Multiple vessels detected," Alicia announced. "Unknown configuration. They match the survivor's description of Firastran ships." "Prepare for engagement," Mara ordered. "Ava, arm all defensive systems. Samuel, stand by in the medbay. Javier, maintain evasive maneuvers." The ship's alarms blared as Firastran vessels emerged from the gloom, sleek and menacing. Mara's heart pounded, but she remained composed. "Open a channel, Alicia. Let's see if they're willing to talk." "Channel open," Alicia confirmed. "This is Captain Mara Fisher of the siege ship Genesis *, Mara declared. "We come in peace and request a dialogue." There was a brief silence, then the screen flickered to life, revealing a Firastran, fierce and imposing. His eyes, cold and unforgiving, bore into Mara's. "This is Calzeth, warlord of the Firastrans. There is nothing to discuss, human. Your kind's time is over." "Calzeth, our people were not responsible for the crimes against yours," Mara began, trying to reason with him. "We can find a peaceful resolution." Calzeth's face twisted into a snarl. "There will be no peace, only vengeance." With that, the screen went dark. The Firastran ships closed in, weapons charging. "Brace for impact," Mara shouted. The first volley hit the Genesis *, rocking the ship violently. Javier's hands moved with lightning speed over the controls, keeping the ship steady. "Shields holding, but they won't last long," he called out. "Ava, return fire," Mara commanded. Energy bolts lashed out from the Genesis *, striking the Firastran ships. The space around them blazed with cerulean beams and orange eruptions, a chaotic ballet of light and darkness. Mara's mind worked furiously, calculating their chances. In the medbay, Samuel prepped for casualties, his heart sinking with each hit the ship took. Tarek, though still weak, assisted where he could, a grim determination fueling his movements. Back on the bridge, the battle raged. "They're targeting our engines," Javier warned. "Divert power to shields and weapons," Mara replied. "We need to buy time." A sudden idea sparked in Javier's mind. "If we can lure them into the nebula at coordinate 792, we might disrupt their sensors." Mara nodded. "Alicia, plot a course for the nebula. All hands prepare for evasive maneuvers." The Genesis * veered sharply, engines flaring as they headed towards the dense, swirling clouds of the nebula. The Firastrans followed, relentless in their pursuit. As they entered the nebula, the ship's displays flickered, interference disrupting the visuals. Javier grinned. "It's working. Their targeting systems are scrambling." "Now's our chance," Mara seized the moment. "Ava, concentrate fire on their lead ship." Ava's precision strikes hit their mark, damaging the lead vessel. The Firastrans faltered, momentarily disoriented. "We've got an opening," Javier exclaimed. "Get us clear of the nebula," Mara instructed. "Alicia, scan for any signs of the captives." Alicia's voice, even in urgency, remained calm. "Life signs detected on the largest Firastran ship. Probability of human captives, high." Mara's resolve hardened. "We're going in. Prepare for boarding." As the Genesis * maneuvered closer to the enemy ship, the crew readied themselves for the rescue mission. The battle wasn't over, but they had a glimmer of hope. In the heart of enemy territory, Mara and her team would face their greatest challenge yet, united by their mission and the formidable spirit that bound them. The boarding party stood at the airlock, tension etched on their faces. Captain Mara Fisher, Lieutenant Javier Ortez, Ava Carter, and Dr. Samuel Inverness were outfitted in their sleek combat suits, armed and ready. The hatch hissed open, revealing the dark, foreboding interior of the Firastran ship. "Stay close and keep your eyes open," Mara ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The team moved forward, flashlights cutting through the dim corridors. The walls were lined with strange, pulsating veins that gave off an eerie glow. The Firastran ship was a labyrinth of shadow and whispering echoes, a stark contrast to the clean, ordered lines of the Genesis *. Javier pulled out a small scanner, its screen flickering with data. Life signs are this way, he said, gesturing down a particularly narrow passage. The team pressed on, the air growing colder with each step. A sudden clanging noise made everyone freeze. Ava, her sharp eyes scanning the darkness, signaled for silence. She moved ahead, her footsteps almost silent, and peered around a corner. She signaled back, all clear. They entered a large chamber, dimly lit by bioluminescent growths on the walls. In the center, humans lay restrained within translucent pods, monitors displaying their vital signs. Samuel hurried forward, his medical kit at the ready. "They're alive, but barely," he said, examining the nearest pod. "We need to get them out of here now." Mara nodded. "Ava, cover the entrance. Javier, help Samuel with the pods. We don't have much time before they realize we're here." As Samuel worked on disengaging the life support systems, Mara felt a sharp presence behind her. She spun around just in time to block an attack from a Ferastran guard. The alien's red eyes blazed with fury as it lashed out with a curved blade. Mara's training took over, her movements precise and fluid. She dodged and countered, her strikes deliberate. Ava sprang into action, her blades glinting as she joined the fray. The chamber erupted into chaos, the clash of metal and furious growls echoing. Javier continued to work on the pods, his fingers moving swiftly despite the pandemonium around him. "We're almost there," Samuel called out, his voice strained with urgency. "Just a few more minutes." Just as Mara disarmed her opponent, the chamber doors flew open and more Ferastrans poured in. They were surrounded. The crew of the Genesis Asterisk formed a tight circle, weapons ready. And then a strange hum filled the air, a low vibration that seemed to sync with the pulsing walls. Mara remembered the biogenic weapon, a risky but necessary move. She made the decision. "Samuel, do it." Samuel's hands trembled as he activated a small device on his belt, sending out a shockwave of energy that rippled through the air. Instantly, the crew felt a surge of power, their reflexes sharpening, their strength increasing. Ava lunged at the closest Ferastran, her movements impossibly fast. Javier's dexterity seemed almost preternatural as he hacked through the pod's restraints. Mara felt a clarity she had never known before, her senses hyper-focused. They fought back with renewed vigor, their enhanced abilities giving them an edge. The Ferastran guards, confused and overwhelmed, fell back under the relentless assault. One by one, the pods were freed, Samuel tending to the captives as quickly as he could. "We need to move now," Mara shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Back to the Genesis Asterisk." The team gathered the rescued captives, carrying the weakest ones. They retraced their steps, every sense on high alert. As they reached the airlock, Javier sealed it behind them, the mechanism clamping shut with a satisfying hiss. "Prepare for immediate departure," Mara commanded as they reboarded the Genesis Asterisk. "Samuel, get the captives to the medbay. Ava, rally the crew for a potential counterattack." Javier headed straight for the cockpit, firing up the engines. "Punching in coordinates for a safe jump," he called out, fingers flying over the console. The Genesis Asterisk surged forward, leaving the Ferastran ship in its wake. Samuel and his med team worked feverishly in the medbay, stabilizing the rescued captives. Mara watched from the bridge, her knuckles white as she gripped the rail. "Alicia, status report," she demanded. "All systems functional. We have successfully evaded pursuit," Alicia confirmed. Mara exhaled slowly, a mixture of relief and residual tension washing over her. "Good work, everyone," she said, turning to her team. "We're not out of the woods yet, but we've dealt a serious blow to the Ferastrans. Let's get these people home." As the Genesis Asterisk soared through the vastness of space, the crew's unity and resolve were stronger than ever. They had faced an ancient enemy, and against all odds they had triumphed. But the journey ahead was long, and the shadows of space still held many secrets. The Genesis Asterisk cruised through a tranquil sector of space, its engines humming a steady rhythm. Captain Mara Fisher stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the stars, a quiet moment amidst the storm they had survived. The recent rescue had been a hard-won victory, but it weighed heavily on her. The Ferastran's return was a shadow that loomed over their future. Down in the medbay, Dr. Samuel Inverness moved from pod to pod, checking on the rescued captives. Their recovery was slow but steady thanks to his tireless efforts and advanced medical tech. Tarek, now somewhat recovered, assisted, a transformed man with a newfound sense of purpose. "How are they doing?" Tarek asked, gently adjusting the IV of a young woman. "Better," Samuel replied, his eyes scanning the monitors. "Most of them are stabilized. A few more days and they should be strong enough to return to their duties." In the engineering bay, Lieutenant Javier Ortez ran diagnostics on the ship's systems, his usual carefree demeanor hardened by recent events. Ava Carter joined him, her sharp eyes darting over the repair logs. "How's it looking?" she asked, leaning against a console. Javier shrugged. "We're holding together. The damage from the battle was pretty extensive, but I think we've patched most of it up. What worries me is how unprepared we were. These enhancements Samuel deployed gave us an edge, but we can't rely on that every time." Ava nodded. "We need to be ready for anything. If the Ferrostrands have allies or more ships out there, we can't afford to be caught off guard." Javier sighed, pushing back from the console. "It's a lot to think about. But one thing's for sure. We need to keep improving, keep adapting. It's the only way we'll survive." In the ship's mess hall, crew members gathered around, exchanging stories of the recent skirmish over hastily prepared meals. The air was thick with camaraderie and resilience, each person finding strength in the presence of their comrades. Ava joined them, her presence a silent reminder of the fierce battle they had fought. She took a seat next to a young ensign, who looked up to her with a mix of admiration and awe. "Lieutenant Carter," he began hesitantly, "how did you stay so calm during the battle?" "I was terrified." Ava offered a small, reassuring smile. "Experience and training, but mostly knowing that I can rely on each and every one of you. We're a team, and that's where our strength comes from." Back on the bridge, Mara received a communication from the Galactic Council. The holographic image of Counselor Varen appeared, his expression grave. "Captain Fisher, we've received your report. The Council is deeply concerned about the Ferrastran threat. We owe you and your crew a debt of gratitude for your bravery." Mara inclined her head. "Thank you, Counselor, but our fight is far from over. We need resources and support to prepare for any future attacks." Counselor Varen nodded. "Agreed. The Council has decided to divert additional ships and supplies to your sector. We'll set up a series of forward bases to monitor and counter any Ferrastran activity." Mara felt a surge of relief. "That will make a significant difference." "Thank you, Counselor." After the call, Mara turned to Alicia. "Send a message to all crew. Prepare for rendezvous with reinforcements. We've got work to do." As the ship sailed on, the crew of the Genesis didn't just rest, they prepared. Repairs were completed, weapons upgraded, and defenses bolstered. Training drills became more frequent, each scenario more challenging than the last. In the quiet moments, Mara would find herself at the viewport, staring into the infinite sea of stars, contemplating the challenges ahead. The recent encounters had forged them into a more resilient unit, a family bound by their shared struggles and triumphs. Samuel joined her one evening, a cup of steaming tea in his hands. "Penny, for your thoughts?" Mara smiled, accepting the tea he offered. "Just thinking about the future. There's so much uncertainty. But also hope," Samuel added softly. "We've faced impossible odds and come through stronger. Whatever comes next, we'll handle it together." Mara nodded, taking comfort in his words. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but for now they had a moment of peace, the promise of solidarity guiding them through the stars. They were ready for whatever lay ahead, their hearts steeled and their spirits undaunted. The legacy of the human seed ships would endure, protected by the unbreakable resolve of their crew.